Hi, guys, and welcome back to Couch Critics.
Hi guys, we're Couch Critics, and today we're reviewing a new movie
Yes,
called Argylle.
Argyle. I used to think it was Argyle.
Argylle.
Argyle
No, it's Argylle.
sounds the same.
Yes, it does.
It would have been a better,
Yeah,
better title for this
yeah.
movie.
Because it's a spy movie, and usually
Yeah,
people say,
and
"Ah,
we're
I have a
looking
guy."
for that spy, so it's our guy,
Yeah, it's Argylle.
Argyle.
But yeah, so it is an Apple movie. I knew they made movies, but I thought they were only like specific for Apple movies, like for the Apple TVs. But apparently they're in cinemas now.
Mhm.
And yeah, it felt very much like an Apple movie. I think it
Okay.
was a very commercial movie. But okay, let's talk about the premise of the movie first.
Okay, but before you start, I didn't know it was an Apple movie.
I just saw it at the beginning of the movie. Yeah,
Apple
it
does
is.
movies now?
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
Yeah. I knew they did TV shows. I knew they had movies kind of like Netflix, but
Hmm.
I don't think Netflix has
So
their
is
movies
it? Do you
on.
know if it's like something new that they're trying out right now,
I
or
I think it's fairly new. I don't
okay?
know if it's like maybe 1 year or a couple of years, but I think that's the maximum. That's how far
Hmm.
it goes, but I'm not sure about it. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's new, but how new, I don't know. But yeah,
Okay.
Apple movies.
Do you want to do the premise?
I could do the premise. So
Okay.
basically, Argyle is a movie about a writer who writes spy fiction. And at some point, she gets kidnapped by a spy because apparently everything she wrote about her spy fiction ends up being real. And this is why a lot of very prominent spies want her because they want to know what's her predictions for the future. But later in the movie, and spoiler alert, we realize that she's not writing the future, she's writing her past because she's not a writer. She's actually a spy who's been brainwashed by two other spies. And then yeah, they tried brainwashing her so that they get to know the secrets of the enemy who's actually the protagonist. And yeah, it's I'm gonna say it from the go. It's a very messy movie. It was all over the place. The plots kept switching and switching and switching. It felt like Pretty Little Liars. Have you
Hmm.
watched it?
Yeah,
Like at the
yeah,
end, they just
yeah.
kept adding twins out of nowhere, and it
Hmm.
it gave me that vibe. But it was very well filmed. Like
Hmm.
they had the budget for that movie. That was clearly obvious. Dua Lipa was in the movie.
Hmm.
The guy from Breaking Bad was in the movie. Samuel Jackson was in the movie. A lot of great cast. Catherine O'Hara. Do you know the woman who played the mother of the writer?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
That's the mom from Home Alone.
Okay.
Yeah, from
The Christmas
25.
movie.
The what?
The Christmas
Yeah,
movie.
the
Okay.
Christmas movie.
Yeah.
She's the one who screams, Kevin. Yeah, that's Catherine O'Hara.
Hmm.
So she was in the movie. So it was a lot of great actors. And I
Hmm.
think that's what saved the movie.
Okay.
But was it a very good movie? I'm not sure.
Okay. Um, you described it so wonderfully. Like I couldn't have described it like even close to the way that you described it. And honestly, when I hear you talking about it, there are so many parts that I missed out, obviously, when I watched the movie. And I only watched it like a week ago, so it wasn't that long ago. But as you said, it was like the acting was great, but that was the only thing to me. And to me, the plot is about this girl looking for our guy until she realized that she is our guy.
Yes.
And I will keep saying our guy.
I honestly cannot hear the difference. So
It literally sounds the same. But yeah, I went to that movie kind of like with high expectations. I don't know why. I don't like commercial movies usually, but like I did expect a certain level of entertainment when I went to see this movie, but um I was kind of disappointed.
I was very disappointed.
Yeah. Okay, let's just talk about the intro. What did you think of the first scene of this movie?
Okay, I love the first scene. I watched it in the
Okay.
trailer. I really liked it because of Dua Lipa
Mhm.
mainly. Oh my God. I just love because she's starting to show up in movies like in Barbie, now Argyle. And I really like what I really like about Dua Lipa is that even when she's acting, she's not she's not acting, she's not trying to be an actress, she's not trying to portray someone else, she's not trying, for now, I don't think she's trying to have a range or anything. She's just being Dua Lipa in the movie, and I think
Yeah.
that's incredible. The first scene is a very like James Bond kind of vibe of
Mm.
scene. They really tried to have this like ultimate spy, very attractive scene, and I think that was very fun. And you know, because in the movie that scene was part of the book, so in the movie it was fiction, so it was like
Yeah.
fiction square, it's fiction and fiction. I think it was okay that it was too much, but yeah, no, that scene I actually liked. What about you? What did you think about it?
I did not like understand the use of that scene. To me, it was this Dua Lipa music video,
Yes.
and every time I see Dua Lipa in any movie, she's not acting. It's a
No.
music video, whether it's Barbie, whether it's Argyle. It like this is not what I signed up for. I don't want to see a Dua Lipa music video. I don't even listen to her music. I think she's a great artist, but I like if she wants to become a comedian, if she wants to become an actor, like I don't feel like she's making enough efforts. And like to me, when you're a singer and like you start like doing movies, you either should play a certain version of yourself or like get cast as yourself in the show, or you should do the work to not be identified as a singer. And like the only movie that I can compare this movie to, and like the only other singer that I can compare to Dua Lipa is Bad Bunny and Bullet Train. Have you watched Bullet Train?
I watched it in a plane. I was half asleep. I didn't even know Bad Bunny was in the movie.
Bad Bunny was in the movie, but that's the thing. Like you didn't know, which is great because like he made his like career such a small like characteristic of himself, and like his acting was the only thing that stood out. Whereas for Dua Lipa, she's always like acting as Dua Lipa, and I don't want to see Dua Lipa in a movie anymore. Like to me, I'm just whenever I see her, I'm like, okay, this is the dancing part, I guess. Like this is the singing part,
And there
and
was dancing.
there was dancing, and like for Barbie there was singing. Like
Yeah.
there was a minute long scene with them all dancing and, and singing. And I do understand that this movie is trying to like seem as ridiculous. I don't know how to explain it. Like this movie doesn't take itself seriously, and like but like there is a certain extent.
Yeah, I agree with
um
that. I agree that the movie doesn't take itself seriously.
yeah. And the plot as a whole is just very weird. I love the main idea of the
Yeah,
movie when
yeah,
the premise, like when you described it to me, this writer who writes these novels, and then like suddenly the things that are written in the novel start to become true, and it's very suspicious. I get the cheesiness, I get that it's so ridiculous, but I love that, and I would have loved if like they just stick to that, because I felt like halfway through the movie, like everything became so messy, and they just like honestly, they just lost me. I cannot explain how the ending, how they got to that ending, and the fact that the Ellie, the
the
writer,
writer.
turned out to be the spy is so disappointing. I mean, it's shocking, and this is what they were going for. But to me, it's just so messy, and it's too much. It's too overly stimulating. And
Yeah,
no, what did you think of the plot?
I would have loved it if they stopped at the original plot. But then
Mm,
not only Ellie did become like ended up being a spy in her past life, but then she was a spy on the bad side of the spies. Like she was a secret spy, like a double agent in her agencies, and then like it kept crumbling and crumbling and falling apart
yeah.
and not making sense. And when you have such a nice idea, because I haven't watched a movie with a similar idea for now. I don't
Mm,
know if it exists, or I don't think anybody made a similar movie with that plot. So you already have an original creative plot. Why are you trying to add more to it, you know?
because the plot is, yeah, yes, original, but it's also very weak. So
Hmm.
you do need great actors, and you need to make it, you need a great script too, and very funny jokes as well to make it work. And I don't think, okay, they had the acting part, but I don't think they had like all the elements to make their weak plot works. So they kept on adding and adding and adding until the movie was overly saturated with elements that did not fit into the plot.
They have jokes in the movie. I don't remember a lot of them.
The writing is overall so bad. I remember there was this scene with Sophia Budini. Maybe we could insert her name here. She's this North African actress, and she's supposed to give Ellie this box, and they go to
Oh
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So I remember she said something along the lines of I'm the secret keepers. Oh, I'm known as this as a secret keeper because I know how to keep secret. And I remember just cringing in my seat and
Of
just
facts.
yeah,
Wow, mind
yeah,
blowing.
and yeah, it did not.
Yeah.
I did not like it again.
Well, okay. To get over, let's talk about the cinematography because there's something that really got to me, and that scene, it just
Which
really
scene?
bothered me. It's the scene where they were trying, like after towards the end, where they were trying to run away from all the guards, and then
Okay.
there was colored powder everywhere, and they started shooting at people and dancing while shooting people. I really did not like that scene because it felt like they were
Yeah.
romanticizing killing mass killing people, and I think that's just it wasn't sitting right. And also, why are you dancing? Like, you want to make an action movie, stick to it being an action movie.
Mhm.
Where did the dancing and the colors come from? Why the colors? And like, who has colored powder in a spy agency? That just didn't make sense.
It just comes to show how weak the writing is because
Yeah,
there are a lot of movies who mix action with comedy. Let's just give an example, the example of Everything Everywhere All at Once, Bullet Train, the movie that we talked about. They do mix action with this comedy element, and it works, and it's so funny, and they're so absurd, and I cannot remember what the movie was about. I can remember small details, but I cannot describe it to you. But I still feel like those were great movies and
yeah.
very entertaining movies.
I do want to mention something that I think is not really positive, but I think it's a fun note to
Mhm.
add. It's the use of Apple products. Because it's an Apple movie, I've noticed that Samuel L. Jackson had like his iPad, his Apple computer, everything he was using was Apple. Whereas in the antagonist's world, spy headquarters, whatever, they had like transparent screens. And it's mainly
Okay.
because I've heard that Apple do that not just for their own movies, but mainly in most movies, the protagonist can use Apple, but the antagonist cannot use Apple. So basically, if you're trying to find out who the bad guy is, you try to find out who's not using Apple, and these are the bad guys. Apparently, that's how it works.
Okay.
Yeah, and also I've noticed when Catherine O'Hara got the phone call from her daughter, she didn't pick up the phone call from her own phone. It was a neighbor that came to her with his own iPhone to give it to her because since she was the bad guy, she couldn't own any Apple product. And if she didn't have an iPhone, it would have been very obvious that she's the bad guy. So I think that was a very clever twist to the movie.
It's definitely a brilliant marketing strategy.
Yeah,
And yeah, if I was Apple and I was like producing a movie, I would include each one of my products in that movie.
yeah,
But at the same time, like I did not notice that, like, because it's not relevant. Like maybe if they used an Apple object or like a product to like make the development of the movie better, like to solve some of the mystery of the movie, maybe it could have been relevant. But it's just there to be there. It's not obvious, and also it's not obvious that the bad guys are the ones who are not using Apple, and the good guys are the ones who are using. And again, maybe it could have been obvious if there weren't too many things all at once thrown at the audience.
right, yes.
Maybe we could have noticed these kind of things. And yeah.
I don't think it's meant to be obvious. I think it's some sort of Easter egg they tried to include in the movie, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but it's a fun coincidence if it wasn't planned, but I'm pretty sure. Knowing Apple, I think it was.
I definitely think it was. I
Yeah.
don't think that it was an Easter egg.
Yeah.
I think it was definitely meant to be seen, and I think that they definitely thought that everybody would like realize what the brand was there for. Um, I didn't like maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, but I did not notice it. I didn't come up to the same conclusions as you. But yeah, I think this movie is very pretentious. Yeah. Not the same pretentious as the dreamers that we talked about last week. It's the bad kind of pretension. I think that this movie just assumes that it's going to be this big hit and that it's going to have a sequel and a prequel and that we're going to be so magically and immediately in love by its characters, and it doesn't try to get us to be attached to these characters. And like first example that I can give is Argyle. I do not care about Argyle. Do I want to see a prequel about Argyle's story? No, because I'm not I'm not attached to him. His character development in the movie is very weak, and
He's barely there.
he's just there to look pretty. And
Yeah,
yeah,
also, I feel like Argyle was identified with different characters at different times in the
yeah,
movie. Like sometimes Argyle was Aiden, sometimes Argyle was Rachel or Ellie. It's just every time Argyle was somebody different. And I think that just didn't make a lot of sense because, okay, who, well, we end up figuring out that Argyle is based on Rachel Kyle, Art
yeah.
Kyle, who is also the writer Ellie. But at the beginning, it was just so confusing. And why did you picture Aiden as Argyle if that's not him? I don't know.
Totally. He didn't get the chance to be his own person, and maybe they could have portrayed him as different people, but like they should have taken the time to make sure that the audience knew who he was and to get like even like the smallest insight about his personality, because
Yeah.
I feel like what they are going for is they ideally want a prequel for Argyle, but nobody cares about Argyle.
So that was it for Argyle. Thank you so much for watching.
Please like and subscribe and let us know what you thought of this movie.
Yes, and if you like the movie, please leave a comment below and try to convince us why you liked it. We would love to be convinced about why it was a great movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you. See
We'll
you
see you
next
next
week.
week.
Bye.
Bye.